One thing that I found through getting older is that the darkness doesn't last forever, right? The darkness doesn't last forever, and if you're listening, if you're watching, the darkness doesn't last forever, man. And I think that that's so important to acknowledge and talk about in this episode, because there were times when I was younger when I didn't believe that. I really didn't believe that. And it was a pretty rough time in my life. But if you're listening, just know that you're loved, and that if you feel like nobody else cares about you, we care about you. And I'm going to just pop a little phone number down here for a hotline for anybody who's been struggling. It'll be in the description too if you're listening. But just know that the darkness certainly does not last forever. And I think that's one of the best things that I've learned from getting older, gaining some perspective, you know.
That being said, hello guys, and welcome back to the Little Pricks Podcast.
Hello.
You have me, Fareed.
My name's Devon.
His name is Devon.
Yeah, man. Fareed just turned 33.
Thank you. I'm
just going to throw that out there. We're talking about that. We're talking about people getting older, especially Fareed. He's half dead.
Half dead?
No, I'm
a third of the way there.
Nah, surely not. I don't know. I guess if you plan on living to 99, 100.
I plan on living past 100.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It's possible.
Because if I made it past 30, the only next milestone's 100.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's fair.
I
yeah.
really thought about that.
There is definitely times where I'm like, 35, if I made it to there, that'd be good.
Nope, 35 is going to be an easy one, God willing. As long as a bus doesn't hit me, I don't get like random rectal cancer, something just out of the blue that just hits you, I'm going to live to 100. And I actually fear for our lives more because we do stupid stuff.
Yeah, that's kind of the reason why I don't foresee like a super lengthy life, but like now I take extra precautions and I'm trying to get there.
Buddy Devon over here lives like he's got a warranty still.
Dude, I ride mountain bikes like I have health insurance.
Yeah.
I don't.
He does not have a warranty right now.
No.
Over the weekend for my birthday, we went up to the cabin my parents have, and we rode mountain bikes, and we severely injured things.
Yeah. Well, you did pretty good.
No,
you were fine.
No, I got an infection for it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No. Well,
yeah.
It's such a strange way. It's such a strange injury from riding mountain bikes, but yeah. No, and then I got ragdolled between trees.
This man flew into several trees.
Dude. Just brand new bike, just absolutely eating shit.
Just wrecked himself. So for my 33rd birthday, he was like, we're going to take you to the top of the mountain. We're going to ride you down, and you enjoy that.
Yeah.
Learn on the job.
That's it.
That's what he said to me.
I took you on the green trails, to be fair. I didn't take you on the nasty ones, the I wrecked one.
No. I'd be horrified. I wouldn't have made it.
No.
By run 3, I was exhausted.
Yeah.
Exhausted.
I do like 3 runs in an hour.
Yeah. I run 3, I went back to the truck and I took a nap.
You did. You were literally asleep.
I was going. Although now we know I had strep throat.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
I didn't know.
I feel like it's so uncommon anymore. I feel like after... I feel like when I was a kid, I got strep throat all the time. All the time.
Well, apparently there's different categories of it now. I have Group F.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a new one that affects all different body parts.
Oh.
Yeah.
Nice.
So as you were saying, today's episode is about growing old and how we think it's actually pretty freaking cool.
I love it.
I love the idea that I'm growing older.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess, to some degree, pretty easy to say from the, ripe young age of 27. But
I'm 33 and I feel great.
Well, I feel great, but I'm just like, some people are going to be like, oh, yeah, wait till you get to this and that age. But the thing I've noticed about that is it doesn't matter what age you are.
Nope.
People are going to say it anyway. Like when I was a teenager, they're like, oh, wait until you're 30. Wait till you're my age. Then stuff starts going downhill. Man, honestly, I feel better now than I did when I was 17.
We're going to talk about some pretty gruesome stuff in this. I'm going to be honest with you about it. Like, I don't have any filters with this. Like, as you get older, like, I'm excited for growing older. I'm loving this, right? But, like, there's definitely things that people have to acknowledge that changes, like with your health. For example, right, like at 27, you know what they did for me? They said, bend over, old son, it's time. And I looked at that guy, I was like...
early?
Yeah. That's what I said. I said, no, sir, you're looking for my father.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
The doctor said, no, we start him young now. And I was like, oh.
Okay.
Why do I feel both hands on my shoulders still?
Oh, God. Oh, God. Jesus, buddy.
No, it was just one of those things that like... Okay, that's going to be a thing, and that happened at 27 or 28, something like that. Haven't done it since. Because I'm like...
Is this doctor still in practice, or what?
I stopped checking.
Oh,
Some questions you don't want to know.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I don't want to know. But he was...
All right.
He seemed like he went to medical school. Okay. They billed me for it.
Well, surely you'd hope so, huh?
Oh God, I don't ask questions anymore. I was like, that was horrible.
Yeah.
But like that's some of the stuff, right? Your body starts to change. Like that. One of the things that has changed is the way I metabolize things. Totally different. Yeah. Totally interesting. And it's just been different. I think one of the things people tell you is like, oh hey, you start to gain a little weight, and it's true. You do. You absolutely do gain some weight if you let it.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, that's why. Yeah, everybody always says, "Oh, this, that, and the other is gonna change." It's hell getting older. Oh, yeah, you're gonna have to quit eating like that once you get my age or you get to X age, and it's like, meh. I just exercise like I always have, man, and I eat okay, and like that stuff just doesn't change. Like it's always like there's just such this negative spin of like, oh, being young, whatever you consider to be young, less than 30. A teenager, whatever you consider to be young, and then after you pass this threshold, life just sucks after that. And I'm like, I think it's like more of a perspective issue than an age issue. I think,
like I think it all comes down to your priorities. Yeah. Like, and I'm gonna refer to something that you say a lot.
Yeah,
you can do anything you want, you just can't do everything.
Yeah, good news is you can do anything. Yeah. Bad news is you can't do everything.
So I like that one, and I think you can set a couple of priorities. Like I've definitely made it one of my priorities that like I want to exercise.
Yeah,
I just enjoy it now. Not like lifting weights still bores the hell out of me.
Dude, I know I can't get on board. I'm so sorry. I will pedal a mountain bike until I puke, but I can't get into weightlifting.
I will punch the bags. I will get in the ring. I'll do those things, but like I will lift weights sheerly because now.
Sorry, Aaron, you're still cool, buddy, but that's it. You're on that island on your own, pal.
But he looks so good.
Oh, for sure. I mean, he's built like a gorilla.
He's got rocks for shoulders. Good God. But no, I mean, I like lifting weights now for the sheer purpose that it makes me a better boxer.
Yeah, that's it. That's the unfortunate place where I've gotten in mountain biking is that now I've like peaked or like I'm starting to plateau, and it's not due to skill. It's due to like physical fitness in regard to not cardio, but like
your muscle strength. You're gonna have to gain some bigger traps, some bigger triceps to be able to handle these things that are coming about for sure. Mm-hmm. And it just comes down to like you can gain weight in your 30s. You can let your testosterone for men kind of start to taper off.
Yeah.
Or you can do leg day.
Right.
And you can kind of do that, right? But I think overall, as I'm turned 33, I'm actually excited by looking back.
Oh yeah,
at my accomplishments.
The progress you can look back at. Absolutely.
Man. What have I survived? I've survived 33 years, and I've had stuff try to kill me.
Oh, same.
I've tried to not self-imposed.
Do things that kill myself. Yeah.
Not self-imposed.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like I've had illnesses try to knock me off the census, and I'm still here.
Right.
So it's just stuff like that, and then you look back at all the stuff you have done that have been exciting.
Yeah.
Right. I went to Italy.
Right.
I enjoyed a trip.
That's cool, man.
I went to Kuwait. I explored Jordan. I did so many things.
Right.
And I just had a good time.
Yeah, I mean, and same here, right? Like, I mean, I'm only well-traveled at this point because I've been alive long enough to travel.
To enjoy
So it's like this is a perspective you can only have from getting older and from being older. So, like, I don't know. I just don't get the whole thing of, like, aging doesn't have to suck. You don't have to be in this, like, negative spiral every single birthday of like, oh, I'm getting older. Well, yeah, you're getting older. Isn't it better than the alternative? Like,
oh yeah,
aren't you happy to be alive? Aren't you happy to have had the opportunity to have all these experiences?
I think that this episode is going to be very much focused on the way we experience aging versus what you could be experiencing as aging.
Yeah.
Right? I'll just spoiler alert right now. The big takeaway from this episode is going to be your perspective on things.
Oh, sure. Absolutely.
If you decide that you want to age gracefully, you're going to do so. And you get to say that. And if you decide you don't want to age gracefully, if you want to have a hard time, if you want to look at things, the challenges that you'll face as, it's hard, it's too much, it's upsetting, it's frustrating, then that's what it's going to be.
Yeah, it just is. Maybe that's another point that's kind of important that I guess we didn't put in the script, but I just kind of thought of this. I think that like people who are older and are saying like this aging process sucks kind of fail to include or talk about the struggles of being really young. Like, hello, best years of my life in my 20s? Fuck that guy. That wasn't true at all. My early 20s, like, yeah, they're formative years because they're hard. They're terribly hard. My life's only gotten easier the older I've gotten.
Too, yeah.
My life's gotten significantly easier the older I've gotten.
I don't know about that. I think I've had newer, more advanced challenges.
Yeah, sure.
But they are made easier to deal with because we've had perspective.
Yeah, and you've had the experience, right? Like your 20s, nothing. Nah.
I will say that my 20s were definitely formative. They were definitely, as I learned the hard way, that your childhood and your younger years all matter as you grow up.
Yeah.
And so I will shut my mouth on that one. However,
so I've changed my mind.
I changed my mind. I was wrong. I was tremendously wrong. Ladies, take note. I said I was wrong.
Yeah, right? He's looking for a wife. We're training him well now for you.
Training me well now. But yeah, it's one of those things that like I think my 20s were very healthy years as far as my physical body. That felt great. I wish I could have been less stubborn with how I slept. Like sleep is so important, man. We just take that for gosh darn granted.
Yeah, I got to get better about that still.
Yeah. And again, just looking back at the stuff that I do remember from my 20s, because like I got that illness that helped me forget a lot of stuff, unfortunately. I've done fun stuff. I've gone to the beach. I've visited more countries than I can count. I've done so many things. I have looked at different situations and been like, fuck it.
Yeah.
And just done it. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like those are things that are going to remember for a very long time, I hope. And I love that. I've experienced things. I've done so many things because I forced myself to. And that got me to 33.
Yeah.
Right? And that's so pleasant.
Yeah.
Right. And then I look at 33 and I say, okay, well, what's made my life easier? I think one of the big ones is like I've learned how to set boundaries.
Sure.
And I have less fear of rejection.
Yeah, and you've just navigated relationships, and like those are all things that have helped you navigate relationships better. Like even in the past year, dude. Like we haven't even been doing this podcast for a year. Mm-mm. Like even to look back at like season 1 videos of some of the stuff that you've said and the stuff that you believe now. Yeah, right. And the stuff that you believe in now and that you've learned, like that is all part of getting older. Like it's just time, man. Time's just passed. So like I think, like any speculation on your end of why you think people look at life so negatively like that and like look as aging as like such a negative thing? Because it's just like, what the heck, man? Like everything we've done in the past year almost has been great.
So I'm gonna go ahead and speculate that because it is so much easier to be negative than it is to be positive.
Well, that's a fair point.
It's just easy, man. It's easy to say, you know what? I had a rough week.
Yeah.
And that can very easily spiral to like, man, it's been a rough month. And then it's like, wow, the first half of this year just sucked. I can't catch a break. Yeah. Right? Because I had this situation the past 3 weeks. Like the past 3 weeks have been hella rough. You've seen it for me, right? I'm still smiling. I'm still having a good time. Like I'll have a bad day, so to speak, right? But I lived through it.
Yeah.
And I'm smiling for it, right?
Yeah, that's right.
And I'm constantly making micro decisions, which I will live by. Your life is dictated by micro decisions.
Absolutely, man.
It's I didn't have that extra slice of pizza. It's I saved those extra $10. We ate all the pizza.
I was going to say, we just nearly bought it.
I didn't.
An entire pizza.
But we didn't have the whole pizza.
Oh, sure. Yeah. One piece left.
But it's micro decisions, right? It's and you can absolutely look at this in mountain biking terms.
Yeah.
Right? That micro decision that made sure the wheel was just right with your body lean just correctly so you made that bank and didn't fly off of it.
Sure.
And end up in the next 4 trees. Like those were micro decisions. That's a great example because you only get down the hill by making tiny little changes to your route.
Yeah.
And so that is what life is, right? And then my micro decisions that I've made have made me wealthier. That's a big one, right? Like I have more money now.
Right.
And that money
just
makes
naturally,
you feel secure.
right? Even if you're, subjectively or objectively broke, like you have more money than you had when you were a teenager, when you were working, your minimum wage. Dude, speaking of minimum wage, I used to sling pizzas like my life depended on it for $7.25.
You made that much?
Huh?
My first job was paying me $3.25 an hour.
Wow, you're not that much older than me to have that big of a stark of a difference.
I was a server, and they were like, don't worry, the tips will take care of you.
Yeah, I made like $2.65 when I waited tables, sure.
But my tips got me to like a solid 5. I was wasting my time there.
Yeah.
It was crazy, man. But like, and it's going to be offensive for some people, but like it is what it is, man. I remember when I had $10,000 saved up, my first $10,000. And I was like, I feel safe now. And then I watched it dwindle. I watched it go away. And I remember panicking inside going, oh my God, that money's all gone. And now I have much more than that, right?
Right.
And I feel so good. And but I remember that lesson.
Yeah.
Like I had a small amount that felt big and that disappeared.
Yeah.
And now I have a much bigger amount that can become nothing again if I'm not careful.
Yeah.
And that lesson taught me how to keep saving money. I don't treat money the same way I used to.
Not at all.
No,
I never was a big spender though when I was younger. I really didn't have that like problem. It's not like something I grew out of. If anything, I'll be honest, I think it got worse.
You are older. Awful. This man sitting here like, hey, I got a $12,000 mountain bike.
Yeah.
Woo!
Right.
I have my own habits, of course.
Yeah.
I just can't remember what mine are sometimes. What have I spent? Yes, I remember now.
Yeah.
I bought a $4,000 cruise ship.
Yeah, a model. By the way, a model cruise ship, not one he can be inside of.
No.
A model one.
It's a model cruise ship. $4,000 cruise ship. God. And I love that thing.
No, I know you do.
But like those are the things I can do because I've learned discipline. I've learned that like I don't need to buy everything.
Yeah.
Right. And I know that half the things that I buy, if I'm not careful with, I will just give away. And so that's the lessons learned there, right?
Right.
But I think the biggest thing that I'm enjoying right now is that I've had major traumas that I've worked through.
I was going to say, when are we going to get to the meat here? When are we going to get to the Little Pricks podcast themed podcast episode? When we start talking about the darkness.
The darkness comes, and the truth of the matter is, man, that like with aging, I've embraced that aging is fun. I've watched my face change. I've watched my body change.
Yeah.
And it's funny, man, because I used to feel so awful about who I was.
Yeah.
And I used to be young and pretty, and I'm still young, just different kind of handsome, right? Just changing.
Yeah, sure.
I see like little wrinkles starting to appear, right? Because like you're just changing. Your body's changing. And I'm more secure in how I look now than I ever was.
That's so cool, man.
Yeah.
That's so cool. I've endured some dark stuff too, man. And I think it's appropriate, man. I think it's appropriate to take a second and I kind of want to say something that I didn't expect to kind of hit me in this episode. But one thing that I found through getting older is that the darkness doesn't last forever, right? The darkness doesn't last forever. And if you're listening, if you're watching, the darkness doesn't last forever, man. And I think that that's so important to acknowledge and talk about in this episode because there were times when I was younger when I didn't believe that. I really didn't believe that. And it was a pretty rough time in my life. But if you're listening, just know that you're loved and that if you feel like nobody else cares about you, we care about you. And I'm going to just pop a little phone number down here for a hotline for anybody who's been struggling. It'll be in the description too if you're listening. But just know that the darkness certainly does not last forever. And I think that's one of the best things that I've learned from getting older, gaining some perspective, Anyway, wanted to take a moment to say that for sure.
Of course. And I'd like to give a little shout out to my found family, Amanda and Michael, because they've both reminded me this in these rough moments I've had at times. Yeah. Recently, actually, where they always say the same thing. It's so simple. I know the lesson and I forget, and it needs to be reminded to me sometimes that this too shall pass.
Yeah. Or one more day. That's my favorite one.
I love that one too.
One more day. Like it apply it to anything. Life, you're having you're struggling. Like I'm gonna stay one more day. I'm gonna stay one more day.
Deal with it one more day.
Yeah, my sobriety. Like I'm gonna stay sober one more day.
Exactly.
Just keep going.
This too shall pass, or one more day. I think another lesson that I've learned in growing old, which I love this, man. Like, in fact, when I was, this reminded me of when we were pushing that car out of the water.
Oh gosh.
That
was a lot.
It was
that was intense.
That was intense.
If you guys, some people may know, I feel like it was kind of unexpected. I don't think it's a very regular occurrence that Tucson gets tornadoes. We got a tornado here, and it was a big one.
And a hurricane.
Yeah. Or maybe I guess that would be the more appropriate term.
It was a hurricane / maybe
like
tornado touchdown.
2 inches of hail in the backyard.
Yeah.
And lots of flooding, enough to put a car underwater.
Yes.
Yeah.
That we had to push out.
Yeah.
And the lesson that this brought up to me was that like pain is fantastic for a teacher. Oh. Right? Pain is a fantastic teacher.
Yes,
and if you allow it to teach you, if you allow it to flow over you, experience it, suffer through it, deal with it, you can do great things. And I'm telling you right now, it was such a small feat that I did to myself, but it felt big and small at the same time.
Oh, sure.
It reminded me of how much of a bitch I can be. but it also reminded me of like I did it anyways, right?
That's right.
Like the water was only up to my calves.
Yeah.
Was not very high, but I remember the pain it felt.
Oh,
it was freezing cold.
Yeah.
Legitimately, like came from the hail of the sky cold.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Sure.
And I had to trug from my car to this stranded car.
Yep.
And help the passenger put the car in neutral, which that became a feat, and it was way harder when I was cold.
Huh?
Yeah, it was dead, completely dead, and it was way harder because it wasn't obvious. I had to figure it out on the fly.
Yeah,
and I'm telling you right now that my legs had started to hurt so bad due to the pain of the cold that I like for a minute I could feel like my brain flickering a little bit, and it wasn't my whole body, which is astounding, right? It was just my calves that were up to the water, and I was like. And I had to keep reminding myself, like, it's just pain.
Yeah.
And we're going to work through this.
Yeah.
And I remember just going, oh, it's so painful.
Yeah.
Right. And I said, but we got to figure this out, because if not, I'm going to stay in the water longer.
Yeah.
And I started ripping apart the center console real quick. It's like, red lever, pull.
Yeah.
And they pulled the lever, and
all the airbags just go off.
At least I won't feel the cold anymore. Right. But and we were able to resolve the issue, but like I had to accept the pain.
Yep.
And it was awful pain. And I've had
that's a good point too. Keep going, but I just want to talk about something after that.
Okay. I've had numerous moments in the past year that I have to remind myself, like, just accept the pain.
That's
you
exactly
have
what I
to
was gonna
just
say.
take it, and it'll teach you.
It will teach you, and the pain will leave when it's done teaching you.
The pain will leave when it's done teaching you.
That's exactly right.
I remembered like 3 or 4 specific moments now in the past year that like physical pain or emotional pain that were just abso-fucking-lutely fantastic for me. Yeah. And I don't curse very often on here because I think it's such an important lesson.
Yeah.
Now, it does not have to be self-inflicted pain.
No.
Start trying to hurt yourself.
Yeah, no.
But like that water was physical pain.
Yeah.
That if I didn't deal with, someone was staying stuck.
Yeah. Or
that was
to
a
be
lesson.
honest, that situation was pretty intense. There was concern for death.
Yeah.
In that situation, to be honest, yeah. That was not good.
It was a scary situation. More cars could have come. It could have gotten a lot worse.
Yeah.
Right. Then I remember getting my my hernia surgeries. Right. Mm-hmm. The injections they give you are horrifically painful.
I wonder what injections they gave you.
Oh, the numbing, and then they put some serious stuff, and they're like, it's gonna burn a little bit. It's not a little bit. In fact, mine was honest. Like, it's gonna burn a lot.
Probably lidocaine with that, yeah.
Something.
Right.
And I remember just going like, and you have to take it. And I kept reminding myself, it's okay.
Yeah.
And then the surgery after that, the amount of pain I was in with like 5 new holes in me.
Yeah.
I couldn't sneeze.
Oh, I believe that.
And if I laughed, I wanted to punch myself because it hurt so bad.
Yeah.
Right? But I kept reminding myself, it's okay. It's just pain. Or when I figured out my childhood trauma.
Oh, here we go. Now, this is the pain that I think is worth. Just putting it out there, I'd rather feel physical pain any day. Any day. I would take physical pain over emotional pain.
I'll take either one as long as I learn something.
Fair point.
I'm just here for the lesson, right?
Yeah.
And again, none of this was pain that I put myself through for funsies. Like I wasn't I'll do this because it'll teach me something. No, it was like, I have to overcome this or I won't move forward.
No, exactly. And I think that's the biggest thing that people miss in our, it's so funny, like humans, it's like our psychology, just so interesting that we, not afraid of death really. Our biggest fear as humans is life. And the things that we experience, like the pain, we avoid it like the plague. And it's like, gosh, everything you're talking about is all lessons and all things and all opportunities you've had to grow through the avenue of pain.
It's so tremendously important to face those things.
But that's life. Like, we don't fear death. We fear life.
100%.
That's so
Whatever
weird.
Pain you feel you're going to have to go through, just do it. Come out the other side. Learn the lessons.
Exactly.
And enjoy what you've done because it makes you a stronger person. That's why I want to do those cold plunges. I want to be able to suffer through those things.
The hurricane water with hail in it. Yeah, that's what the snow melt cold plunge is like. I did one in February.
Which, by the way, you know what a cold plunge is supposed to be? I looked at the temperatures.
Okay.
We're idiots.
Oh, the temperature? Yeah, it's probably way higher than what we're actually.
We're idiots. Like the water that I was in was probably in the 40s.
Yeah. I would say it was colder than that.
I don't know.
That water was pretty cold.
It was frigid. I was shocked. I was shooketh.
The one I went in was below freezing. It was just running water.
It couldn't have been below freezing. It would have been frozen.
It was running water.
Yes.
Yes.
I don't know. It wouldn't have melted if it was. below. It has to be above freezing for it to melt.
Running water can be below freezing.
Can it be?
Just so you know. Well, yeah, like rivers don't freeze solid. They might get a little layer on top, but like...
But that's because the water's warmer.
I didn't look into that one.
Yeah, it's because the water's warmer underneath. It insulates. The top freezes. It insulates the bottom, and it is physically warmer. If it was freezing, it would be frozen, except for salt water. That changes. This one I know. I did study this.
Okay. All right.
And if I'm wrong, please correct me. I am not above being corrected. But it melted because it was above freezing. That's all it was. Huh. So, but you're not far from freezing. We'll put it that way. Yeah. I'm guessing that snow melt after that much movement, probably in the 40s.
Yeah, maybe so.
And the water I was in was probably in the mid 50s.
Yeah.
Yeah. Either way, it was horrifically painful.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have wanted any more.
Yeah. I was not crank the knob farther.
We didn't anything.
I'm good, thank you.
I would have been scared. Like, honestly, we couldn't have opened our doors had it been any higher.
It was right. Like, it was literally right at the bottom of your door sill. It was very close.
Yep. And it was at the footsteps kind of a thing. So that was interesting. But yeah, it's like dealing with that pain feels like some serious accomplishment for me, and I love that. Yeah. Right? Because that pain, all the pain and struggle I've done has got me to where I'm at.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm on like the precipice of like something fan-freaking-tastic.
Oh, yeah. This always happens to me like every couple of years. Every couple of years I look back and go, the things I thought I knew and the things I know now. And which is good, right? It's a good indicator of your progress and your growth. But like,
And
what?
It just comes down to your perspective.
That's
right?
fair.
I've seen the people that live a miserable life, and I've seen the people that are suffering tremendously and are positive and still live a good life.
Yeah.
And that to me is all the difference. Like the lesson here, yes, pain is important and all that, but like it's how you view the pain. It's how you view everything.
Yeah, sure.
I just keep coming back to the same damn place. I wake up every morning and I say the same thing. Every morning I wake up.
Yeah.
And I go, thank God for being alive. We're recording still.
Yeah, I'm just checking. Let's check in time.
Oh, we're at 31 minutes recorded, but like...
Yeah, that's all.
22 or something.
I was just checking it out.
But yeah, like every morning I start off with just a moment of gratitude. Like as the moment I have consciousness, I go, thank God I'm alive.
Yeah.
I just say it, right? Like I'm just so grateful. And that's how I start off my morning, is with gratitude that I woke up. Because I didn't have to.
All right, sure.
My heart could have just been like, no gracias.
No gracias.
No gracias. No, senor.
We're done here. We're checking out.
Checking out.
Clocking out. Yeah, we're done here.
And
everybody else, good luck.
One less voter this year.
Right.
Yep. That's just knocked me off the census. No one can knock on my door.
I don't even want to get into that. Politics, God.
It's okay.
So much has happened recently. It's like, what is even happening?
It's all one big psyop. It's okay.
Yeah.
But the perspective has been the biggest thing for me, because at the end of the day, we're all seeking happiness and joy. And we've had this discussion a few times. We're like, I'm not chasing happiness.
Yeah, it's not really like a goal or some place that I want to arrive to. Happiness is more of like a side effect.
Yeah.
It's a side effect of those micro decisions you talk about. Like, happiness is a side effect of those things. Like, you have those.
I was like, one of the things that I wrote down in my notes here was that I am the true bringer of joy in my own life.
That is 100% true. And the second people realize that, the second you quit putting that responsibility and deferring that to other people for your happiness, is the day that you become more happy.
I'm going to actually look at this camera for a moment, because I want to talk to you directly. The truth of the matter is you get to decide how you feel about whatever situation it is that you're in. You could wreck your car and realize you've just diddled yourself for quite a few weeks here, and you can laugh. And you can smile and be like, you know what? I'm alive.
That's exactly right.
You can laugh and you can smile and say, it could have been worse.
Yep.
You can look at this and say, what is this going to teach me? Or you can look at this and say, well, my life is wrecked for the next few weeks and I will never recover from this. And that's the path you've chosen.
Yep.
But you can choose joy. You can choose happiness. You can choose to feel gratitude. And gratitude is, I'm going to say, one of the biggest things I've learned. Be grateful. Just enjoy that gratitude.
Yeah.
That gratitude truly brings you like the next few steps that you have to take.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And in this situation, in this context, in this episode, that totally makes sense. The only disclaimer I will make for, other situations out there is that there is such a thing as toxic positivity, where you don't allow yourself to feel negative emotions. And that doesn't apply to this situation in the context of getting older and doing that gracefully, but just in general, a disclaimer.
Well, you know what? We could bring it in there, though. We could actually bring that up, because while I'm saying, yes, you should be positive in as much as you can, you should also give yourself permission to feel sadness, sorrow, upset when those things happen, because then you cycle it back into gratitude. You can
once you allow yourself to feel those negative feelings,
indulge in it. Like, that was a really crap situation. And then your next instinct should be, but what did I get from it?
Yeah.
Right? Like, let it cycle. Let it naturally cycle. Mm-hmm. I'm really upset that I lost my job. It really hurts. I'm worried. I'm afraid. I'm scared. I'm nervous. But then the next thing you can say is, but I'm off to my next adventure.
Yeah.
How incredible.
Yeah. No doubt, man.
You know, it's let it cycle. Just don't sit there in the negative.
Yep.
Right? I've seen this a lot in dating, which, again, I've taken a different perspective on it than a few of my friends have. And again, I'm very grateful that I'm able, because I've trained my brain for this. Yeah. It takes time. Do not sit there and beat yourself up, because you can't just be positive all of a sudden.
Right.
It takes active monitoring of your thoughts and to work on that, right? And I've only learned that because I've been living for 33 years.
Exactly. You know, that's where I get hung up, where I'm like, guys, getting older is like, this is the only avenue to having a better life and to learning more.
Better living through science and longevity.
That's it.
But I've been able to train myself that whenever I run into a situation, I seek out the best from it.
Sure.
You know, things may not always go our way, but I sure as hell always tell myself it's probably the best it could be.
Yeah.
At this moment.
It is the best. Like, that's literally the only answer. It's the best that it could be. Like, regardless of your situation, regardless of what's going on, like, this is reality. Like, and people get caught up in like, oh, if I'd have done this a little bit differently, or if I'd have just like maybe changed a couple of these decisions, and like, yeah, maybe you see that in hindsight, but like, what you have right now is the best that it could have been. Like, that's okay.
Smile, indulge in it, laugh.
Yeah.
And take it for what it is, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that's what this episode is about taking the lessons I've learned. And growing up is awesome.
Yeah.
Look at the opportunities.
Except for your 20s, I'll always die on that hill. Oh, my early 20s were awful.
I love my early 20s.
No, I look back on them fondly now, but like, oh, God.
They were rough, man.
They were tough. They were tough. Rough,
but I learned so many cool things.
Oh, I did too.
I learned that I could...
Not easily.
I learned that I could sell ice to a polar bear.
Yeah?
Yeah. Man, I was the top salesman often at my old job.
I could sell ice to a polar bear.
Yeah. I'd look at that polar bear and be like, you have some ice, and it's nice ice, but I have ice that can just be better and colder than the ice you have now. What do you mean? Ice is 32 degrees or lower.
Yeah.
I have that ice, my friend. Come on over. Let me show you this ice.
Yeah. Where did you do sales for?
I used to sell Bose equipment.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I used to sell...
well, at least you had a decent product to sell. You weren't selling just like some junk.
Well, that was arguable, right? Like, people could sit there and argue that, like, Bose... Like, it was such a polarizing topic for some people.
Oh, sure.
It was like, Bose, no highs, no lows. It must be a Bose kind of a thing. Like, they were the phrases. And they weren't completely wrong. Yeah. Right? So they could argue it from a scientific basis. But you could also argue it from a experience basis. Whereas you're right. These speakers will not hit 20,000 hertz. Huh. But you can't hear it anyways. Yeah. You know, what you will hear is the middles that are right there. The nice, clear tones. And it was great. It was great equipment. Like, the company put a lot of work into research.
Should we ask them to sponsor the channel?
Yes. Bose, I love your headphones. I have 3 sets. Yeah. Please, sponsor us. Put a Bose coupon code right here. Right. But I used to love it, man. It was great equipment. I enjoyed selling it. But the best part about it was they taught me lessons. And I am just autistic enough to have taken those lessons to, like, run with it. Yeah. Okay, so the biggest thing was they taught me how to sell. And what did selling teach me? It taught me how to listen. That was such a big one. I remember my manager, Andrew, he would sit there and be like, why are you trying to sell people stuff? Don't talk to them about what the product is. They don't care. They only care about how it affects them. Yeah. And the only way you learn how it affects them is if you listen to what their concerns are.
That's right.
And that was the biggest lesson in sales. Like, sales are easy, right? You have a product and a customer has a problem.
Solve the problem.
Solve the problem. They will hand you their cash. Yeah. Or the cash they don't even have. Just solve the problem. Yeah. And that's all we learned how to do. And that lesson I learned, again, over time, translated into so many things.
Yeah.
I am a good friend to people because I listen. Like, that's one of the best compliments I get, and I get it fairly often, thank God.
Yeah.
Right? Like, as I learn how to listen, the one thing I'm told is like, wow, you're such a good listener. Wow, I feel like I can open up to you because I'm listening.
Yeah.
I'm not sitting there trying to solve all their problems right out the gate. I just want to hear your plight.
Yeah.
And go from there. And that was a beautiful lesson I learned at Bose. God bless that time. I spent almost 3 years of my 20s.
Yeah. That's cool,
there.
man.
And it's some of the most valuable lessons I've learned, man. Those guys really taught me a lot. They were rough on me, too. They toughened me up.
Yeah,
they hazed the fuck out of me.
Yeah.
Oh,
I love it when you censor your own curse words. That's my favorite.
I only curse when it's necessary.
Right.
But it toughened me up, and it made me a better person. And instead of like sitting there suffering, like I get made fun of a lot, I was an awkward kid.
I believe that.
Yeah.
I believe that wholeheartedly.
You agreed to that too quickly, sir. Too quickly. But it taught me so many things. And oh God. I must have been a weirdo. I'm still a weirdo.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Man.
So we've recently learned that I'm weird, but Devon is just as weird.
If not just slightly worse. Even you were like, you might be just a little worse.
Just a little further than I am.
Yeah.
And I got the tism.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So maybe people don't realize this, but we're basically roommates.
Yeah.
Except we don't share an actual building.
Right.
You know, we share a yard, so to speak.
Yeah.
And I just come over sometimes.
So much nicer not having to drive like 30 minutes one way to record for the podcast.
Not at all. But it's funny, like this morning, I walk over, I unlock the door, walk in, right? He's in bed sleeping. I come in.
Yeah.
Hey, buddy. It's time to wake up now.
I don't even asleep for like 4 hours. I hadn't even been asleep that long, dude. I hated you for that.
The first thing he does is, meh.
Yeah. Did I do that this morning?
Yeah. He's like, meh. And like, so that's the thing though too, right?
Yeah.
We're aging. But I made this friendship with you.
Yeah.
Because I had the experience, I had the time, the knowledge, and the ability to like level with you.
Yeah. And yeah, for those of you who don't know or maybe haven't watched the episode of how Freed and I met, I was a very problematic customer at his car shop. A very aggressive, mean, hateful, problematic customer.
And the only way I won him over were the lessons I learned in my 20s.
And chicken wings.
And I was like, this man wants to be heard.
Yeah.
And that's all he needed. He just felt like I wasn't listening, or maybe that people in general hadn't listened to him.
Yeah.
And so I took this man out for chicken wings.
Yeah, boy.
And when we sat down for chicken wings, he sat there, and for a moment I was like, we're not going to talk about your car anymore.
I know, it made me so angry when you said that back then.
Yeah, I said, we're not going to talk
like
about
now
your
I
car.
laugh, but I'm like, oh, that made me pissed.
Yeah, we're going to talk about other things, because you have other interests, and so do I. And right now we're at lunch.
Yeah.
We talk about your car when we get back to the office. Right now we're going to be at lunch,
Yeah.
because I think you're an interesting human being. And he didn't like that.
No, I did not.
But then I put wings in his mouth, and he started talking about stocks and cryptocurrency and house flipping and like how he's a traveling nurse that makes way too much ungodly money at the time.
Yeah.
And I was like, yes, give it to me.
Yeah. It's made me sound like a complete asshole. Just drive that. Yeah. Now I'm just a humbled hippie that drives a stock Tacoma.
He's made a total 180, guys.
Oh, yeah.
Total 180.
There's people that meet me now that I'm like, I'm glad you didn't meet me 4 years ago.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Yeah.
What was this conversation? Oh, yeah. Ooh. Oh, yeah. I had that conversation with a girl I was seeing a while back ago. It was, I was like, we matched at one point, right?
Oh.
And I was like, you ghosted me. Yeah.
No.
And
called her out.
I called her out. And she goes,
no.
She goes, but we are on a date now. I'm like, uh-huh. Yes, we are. How do you feel about ghosting me now?
Yeah.
And then the funny part is she goes, well, to be fair, I probably wasn't ready for this then. You wouldn't have liked me. I said, amen, because I wouldn't have liked me then.
He said, can I get an amen?
Can I get an amen? It was the wrong people at the wrong time kind of a thing, and that's definitely a thing. But it was funny.
Yeah.
It was a totally funny situation.
Wow.
Yeah. It's like you learn, you grow, you become a better person. I think especially when we're young too, though. we're like raging with hormones.
Yeah,
It makes it very hard to make clear thoughts.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to tell you right now, like the thoughts I have when I'm a little sleep deprived, completely different from the thoughts that I've had a good night of sleep. hormones.
I was journaling about that today, actually. Yeah, I was journaling about that, and it was talking about like social anxiety and just stuff like that. And it was like, well, how do you feel in general? The question was, how do you feel in general about approaching strangers, talking to someone in public? And my first instinct was to write down, well, it depends on how well I've slept.
Yeah.
If I'm sleep deprived and I'm anxious and I'm all these other things, then,
I don't want to do this.
Yeah, then I'm anxious. Then I don't want to do it. But if I'm well rested and feeling confident and bubbly and happy, then like, oh, I've got this in the bag. I'm good.
I wish I understood, because I don't understand it yet. Why is it that now I'm older and I have like less shame?
I think so. That's another part, right? Like that's another thing that I'm glad you said that, is because that's the other thing I've found that has just improved exponentially, is because like the older I get, the more comfortable I feel in my own skin. And I think a lot of that is attributed to just like coming into myself and finding out what like I do and what I don't like, and the friends that I do and I don't want, and the interests and the passions that I do and don't want to pursue. Like all those things I've just really just gracefully come into myself. And maybe that's why we don't feel that shame or like that.
Or I'd rather, I mean, I'm going to add to that. Maybe part of it is we've seen ourselves accomplish things that we didn't think were possible for us.
Yeah.
And now we're like, I'll karaoke in front of you.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Like, we're probably never going to see each other again. And if I do, they'll be like, yo, karaoke guy.
Karaoke guy.
Because, like, here's the thing. Most people, they don't care, man. Most people are so caught up in their own existence and their own set of problems in their own lives that, like, they don't have time to care about and judge you for doing something like singing karaoke or dancing with your partner in the middle of the freaking sidewalk, you know, like it doesn't matter, like all that stuff.
One of the things that I know that I've struggled with for a while, like I love singing.
Yeah.
It just terrifies me to do it in front of people. And you know what, one thing I can do now? I can just sing in front of like I'll be in the car.
Yeah, go ahead.
Right now?
Yeah,
Put the music on. Let me finish my statement. No. Plus we'll get copyright struck.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah.
There's that.
No, but like I'll be on a date, right? And a song will come on. I'll just sing to it now.
Oh, yeah. Same.
I don't care.
Same.
I don't care. I think I have a good enough singing voice at this point. And it's like, it's your ears aren't screeching. Like you're not dying. I'm not going to get a record label anytime soon, but but maybe, who knows? But at least I'm not worried about it, right?
Yeah.
Or here's another one that I find really interesting, which is going to get a little raunchy, but like I'm not so much worried about like the sex stuff anymore.
Okay.
That one was a really big one.
That's necessarily raunchy. That's just life. What do you mean?
Well, like you're taught, like there's so many things that men and women are put through.
Oh yeah, both things.
Golly,
for sure.
Jesus criminy, like the abuse that we put each other through. Right?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Like men with penis sizes or women with breast sizes, or you're not skinny enough. You're not like
pretty enough without makeup or something. Or
why
sure.
put each other through all this abuse? Like, again, I've been dating for a little bit now, right? And one of the biggest things I tell these girls, you are beautiful. The makeup, it's okay. I'm glad you did it. Do it for yourself, but don't do it for me, because like as pretty as you are with it on, I like your face without it.
Yeah.
Right? Like, do not pressure yourself to try to impress me physically. Just make sure your personality's on point.
You must just have such validated partners. That's so great. Good for the women you date. Good for them.
I like to remind them, like, you're beautiful. Now show me the personality. I want to see your heart.
Right. Yeah.
That's it.
That's
like,
good, man.
I found that in dating, one of the most important things now is communication.
And I think that's another thing that changes with age too, right? Like when, like you said, when hormones are rampant and you're just a horny old teenager or in your 20s, you care so much more about the subjective things or just like surface level stuff. And then as you get older,
dude, the communication is so important. I know that I've had I was seeing a couple of people recently, right? And one of them, I couldn't break that communication with him.
Yeah.
Like, no matter how much I tried to explain to him, like, I just need communication.
And it didn't matter how pretty she was either, did it?
Yeah, it didn't. I didn't.
Nope.
Once I realized she was not able to get past her own fears of communication, I checked out.
That's
and I couldn't do it,
Been there.
And I had that conversation with her. I was like, hey, I don't feel like we're communicating well enough. And then she didn't understand it. And then she was like, we're not communicating well. We should move on. I was like, thank you. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I'm so done here.
I'm so glad you beat me to it.
Yeah. It's not like I didn't try to have this conversation.
Good on you.
God bless you. I wish you the best. I think, and she was a wonderful human being.
Yeah, sure.
I just realized that some people are still afraid.
Yeah.
And that's rough. But that's, I think, what the conclusion of this episode is that with your life, with your growth, focus on, absorb, allow the pain to happen. Enjoy the fact that you have the ability to choose your own perspective.
And just enjoy the fact that you are alive to experience it, man. My goodness. Like, what a pleasure.
Oh,
what a pleasure to endure this pain and have the opportunity to learn.
I was so happy when my leg stopped hurting.
Yeah, well, that's fair.
Well, but I
was
excited that I did the thing that hurt though, and I accomplished something.
Yeah.
But I couldn't have gotten it done had I not like put my feet in. You know?
That's right.
I could be laying down right now on my couch suffering through hernias, but I'm not because I went through the pain of getting them fixed.
Yeah.
I could be a poor communicator with whoever I'm dating because I refused to look at myself in the mirror and say, "You're not good at this."
Yeah.
Why? And then took the time to hurt and heal my inner child and realize that that's all that matters is healing that trauma so I can communicate effectively with a woman, you know?
That's right. That's right.
And all of those were the other side of experience, wisdom, and pain.
Yep. Come on.
And having a perspective of saying it's going to be brighter a little bit later.
Darkness does not last forever.
This too shall pass.
Come on, guys. We hope you guys got something from this. We thank you guys for listening. We're so excited. We love being here for you guys. We hope that, these things actually, shout out to, we'll just say first name, Shelby. Shelby, thanks for reaching out on social media, saying that the podcast really resonated with her and that she had been struggling and, with like relationships and just attachment styles, those things started to resonate for her. So thanks, Shelby. Appreciate you for reaching out. If you guys have any kind of feedback on, social media, email, comment underneath on the Spotify, there's a box. And then on YouTube, of course, you can comment.
Call me, give me a text. Here's my phone. No, I'm just kidding.
No, don't do that.
We should get a text line.
That'd be cool. Like a WhatsApp.
Like a WhatsApp, people can text us like, "Hey, how you doing?
That's cool.
This is what I was going through, and thank you for the podcast." Or, "You guys are assholes. Why do you talk about these things?"
Yeah. Either way, good or bad. Thank you guys for reaching out and for giving us that feedback. If you haven't yet,
comment, subscribe.
That's it.
Hit that notification bell, please. You want to see our beautiful faces.
I'm confident about it now, buddy. I'll tell you what. Now we've moved on from season 1. Okay, I don't want to go back there anymore. We put out good content. I don't care who you are. Come on.
We funny.
We be putting that stuff out there.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Come back. We'll see you again next time.
See you guys. Love you.